So my topic today is to talk about something that's quite controversial in today's time. It's a must-have, it's a necessity, it's AI, artificial intelligence. And I want you to come with me on a journey to experience what AI is doing, but with a focus on human capital, on the human resource world. So I'm going to sort of draw you through this entire journey and help you understand this concept that is very, very important to our lives today. The first thing is I'm going to leave you with a couple of logos. I'm sure every one of these 8 logos over here, every single one of you know. One is the largest taxi company in the world which owns no taxis. The other is a movie hall that comes to your home, owns no cinema of its own, but comes to our home, comes to our mobile devices, comes to our home theater systems, live streamed. Airbnb is the largest hotel chain in the world which has no inventory, has no hotels of its own, but one of the largest. And all of these companies, except for Apple, are young companies. Right? Even an Alibaba is a fantastic revelation to what e-commerce can do for the world. No inventory. It allows us to transact, buy what we want, but no inventory. It's a fantastic new world. Keeping this in mind, I'll ask you the question, what is AI? Right? The concept of having machines do things that we think are smart. Building neural networks of the human brain so that we can start driving back one sense, one concept of being smart. I draw you back in time. AI today, as we know it, artificial intelligence as we know it, is what we perceive in robotics, what we perceive in autonomous cars. But AI lived at a point 50 years ago when computers were starting off. And I think the very advent of computers was doing simple arithmetic calculations. And I keep using this example when I'm talking about AI development, which is something close to my heart, about a Casio calculator, right? It does this magical 2 plus 2 and 2 into a number longer than I can imagine, but give you the answer in a second. And that arithmetic calculation can be done by the human brain, but we decided that that mundane task would be done by a smart machine called a calculator, right? That was AI at one time. Now, drawing that parallel to autonomous cars that we see Uber developing, Google developing on the roads today, soon you'll have planes flying on autopilot. So taking tasks that we will think are consistent, mundane, normal, robotic in nature, we'd automate that. Is that AI? AI has existed as long as mankind has known that there are tasks to do. And this is an image of Telos, the mechanical man. And we have had so many stories in the past that have allowed us to understand through the movies that we see. I mean, we've seen Terminator and we've seen what the advent of too much artificial intelligence means to us. Is that a movie? Is that true? And we're starting to see the overlap. You see movies like Star Trek, which are far out in the future. And you wonder at some point, is this really going to happen? Right? So I think what one has to draw into the understanding that we sort of have to relate to constantly is artificial intelligence taking over the world. Are we going to succumb to a concept that is beyond our imagination? We've had the benefit of Lokesh running us through cinema, right? We've had the understanding of something so magical, and he was giving an example yesterday about Sholay, and when Ramesh Sippy had to actually shoot something in Ramnagaram, he couldn't view it immediately because the photographer was the only one who could see that shot. And if they had to review it, they had to go all the way to Bombay, have a look at what was happening there, and then come back. Now, how drastic is that shift when you can see that same thing happening right there today while you're taking the shot. And a lot of it has contributed to automating those tasks, right? Now, drawing a parallel also and giving you an example, the iceberg to the unsinkable ship, the Titanic, is what AI is to companies today. Companies are faced with their Kodak moment, where companies like Kodak, I don't know if any of you remember the brand Kodak, I think it's before your time, but Kodak was this company that was synonymous to photography, synonymous to film, and that company exists no more. That company did not understand that the digital age had come, and it had 150,000 employees and had tons of revenue and cash, but did not evolve. And what happened was the digital age broke it, like the iceberg broke the Titanic. And a lot of companies today in our country, especially the IT-enabled services companies, and a lot of other companies globally are understanding how to deal with the fast pace of technology and what is artificial intelligence to their world. Now, again, an image for you to consume, and I'm going to explain this through. What appears to be happening is technology is moving tremendously fast. And according to Moore's law, 50 years ago, computing power was doubling every 18 to 24 months. Today, it's every 6 months. And it's so rapid that the changes are mind-boggling, right? And for us, we are actually part of that change when you see the new cell phone releases, the new applications that you face. A statistic said that all of US citizens look at their phones 8 billion times daily. That's 300 million people look at their phones 8 billion times daily. In 2020, every individual on the planet, including in Africa, including in China, are going to have 7 connected devices. It's mind-boggling. That means every one of you will have at least 7 connected devices. Think about it. Today, how many connected devices are we on? Now, there are 10 supremely important trends that I want you to understand through AI, but I'm not going to run you through all of them. AI and human resources. One of the fundamental things that I want to draw you, I've brought you through the concept of AI and given you this one single idea, artificial intelligence, that we see in the press, that we see people talk about. My next door neighbor talks about it, my competitor talks about it, my wife talks about it. Everyone's talking about artificial intelligence. How is it going to start ruling our lives? That's the insecurity. Today, one of the things that we forget is AI has benefited the medical sector, right? Healthcare, tremendously in the past, right? Machines have looked at patterns and have been able to diagnose faster than the human brain can collate all those diagnoses. So a 25-year experienced doctor's diagnosis would even come to a 2-year experienced doctor through the power of IBM Watson, for instance, in healthcare, right? Collating and saving a life. The same way, there are certain areas that human capital, for instance, or the human resource world, which is what we are so worried about. Is AI going to take over all our lives, and are we going to be rendered useless? Are we ever going to do anything anymore? Is AI going to play the music that the band played here, right? You're obviously going to hear it in a digital form if you want to, but you're never going to experience them live ever, right? Experiencing them live is something that you can't take away. As long as human beings live, we would always want this interaction. Otherwise, I could be doing this on a webinar and you wouldn't be sitting in front of me, right? Why would I travel 10 hours to be here? That one single fact is something that you guys have to associate with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is to augment. Artificial intelligence is to create value for the human being, not to supplement the human being, because that's the only insecurity that we are left with. That should not be. It has been there all our lives, but it's becoming pervasive, and that's why 1 in 2 jobs is going to be replaced by AI for sure. But what it's going to force us to do, and every individual one of you, as a takeaway gift, is going to think about what you're going to do to bring this AI to bear, right? How are you going to create AI-related jobs? How are you going to create AI-related companies? And maybe Ashish will give you a few ideas. But I think that's the crux of it. In my world, and what I really understand is human capital is so important, and decisions about human capital is changing the way organizations function. A couple of the trends, and I think careers and learning is an important trend that really hits. Careers in companies is shaken at the core because everybody wants always on experience of joining a job. How do they sort of figure out how to do what? When can they do it? Is becoming an always on aspect, which is why artificial intelligence at many levels is refactoring how we imagine what we have to do. And that's something that's very important for our decision-making process, because you can relate to it. Every time I'm going through my college day or college month or my semester or my exams, do I really understand what my future is going to hold? What if technology can tell you there are 7 people who did the same thing and this is what happened to their lives? And it can tell you that because you're thinking about it. Artificial intelligence has to give you augmentation when you have this problem or question, so it becomes clear to you, right? So careers and learnings is one aspect where employees and candidates are going to have that experience of understanding what they should do. Another experience is the employee experience. Everybody talks about in organizations, and I'm sure you have learned this at some part through your peers or through your readings or learnings about companies, is that everybody talks about the hire to retire experience. And that hire to retire experience has an objective value of attracting talent, to develop and engage that talent, and to retain that talent. Everybody wants to invest in talent, right? Because it gives them gains that are larger than you can imagine. And to do that, the employee experience also is being refactored, because AI is helping one understand more about how do I attract the talent, how do I develop the talent, how do I engage the talent, how do I retain that talent through analytics, through understanding of social media. There are various tools today, and various companies are coming out with platforms that are mind-boggling. Another concept that I want you to relate to is talent acquisition. Acquisition of talent are through cognitive technologies, social media analytics, and platforms that are doing natural language processing, reading resumes like the human brain. Now, the reason why these technologies are replacing a lot of sourcing functions, but engaging the recruiter with augmentation of here's a good resume versus having to look at 500 resumes, I look at 50, becomes much more beneficial for the candidate who's being employed, as well as the talent that the employer itself. I think these are fundamental facts that one has to look at. The other aspect is leadership itself, and I'll draw you to how AI is working in sales forecasting meetings. Mark Benioff, who is the founder of Salesforce, he's a legend of this time, built a brilliant experience for sales teams, has Einstein as his AI tool that helps predict the sales revenue based on what the sales leaders say in meetings. So the technology automatically has this voice at the table to decide sales forecasting right then. The future of work itself has been disrupted. You're talking about a gig economy, you're talking about I want to work anytime, anywhere, on anything, and all of you are going to be a part of that. Contract working is going to be a part of the future of the world, right? By 2025, talent management itself is going to be a $2.7 trillion opportunity, which every one of you is going to participate in. I think that's what you need to realize, where open talent marketplaces for you to get the job that you want at the time that you want and where you want it is going to become a reality. And that's what you need to get ready for. All of you, it's not that you have to become an entrepreneur like Ashish, but you can start thinking about where AI is going to impact your lives as you go through your civil engineering, as you go through your mechanical engineering, as you go through your computer science engineering. Think about what technology is doing today and what it's going to do for your future in a real sense. Embrace it. It's a reality. It has been with us in the past. It's going to be with us in the future. People of your time are going to continue delving in that technology because you're going to have new forms of AI that's going to be so mind-boggling that you're going to talk about teleportation from one place to another. Forget about flying, right? It's going to be vastly different. So think about that in a real sense. And last but not least, AI will make a smarter workforce of which you guys will contribute to develop and be a part of. AI will come to the rescue of the mobile workforce because everybody is going to work from anywhere, anytime. Because contracting and working on piecemeal jobs is going to be the open talent marketplace. Everyone who's in technology is working on it now to help people engage from wherever they are because productivity improves when you're doing what you like doing. Think about Lokesh. He's doing what he loves doing. And I think that's very important, right? If you are doing what you like doing versus meandering through a process. And I sort of identify with it because I worked for 9 years learning through the process of what I needed to learn. I've worked in startups all my life. But I was fortunate to get that 9-year experience before I started this first avatar of my company. But the point being is that can we get enough done because we want to do it? And that's the smarter workforce, that's the mobile workforce. And the last is, you have to understand that artificial intelligence is going to help us as an employee of a company, as in various companies, large and small. It's going to help us augment on a daily basis what we are functioning with, right? Whether we are working on a computer that's a lot smarter, that's talking to us, like Siri talks to us, Alexa is going to talk to us, and there's going to be a new tool that's watching us and talking to us, right? So there's going to be a lot of things that allow us to make this decision. Think about it. You're getting on a plane, and somebody is asking you to get on a phone call to be a part of a sales call right there and then, and you're just getting on the plane. You have 7 minutes. You want all the information necessary to get on the call right then and there. Can artificial intelligence provide you the context of that call in front of you, right there and then, so you can make a better and more fruitful impact? That productivity improvement is possible, and that's what artificial intelligence is doing. So I want to dispel the fear by giving you the one concept that's a reality, artificial intelligence, and leave you with the fact that human resources or human capital is going to be impacted in a positive way where $15 trillion of economic productivity is going to be brought back for us in our jobs, in our daily lives, to better it because of artificial intelligence.